me share my screen. Can you guys see my screen?
It says you start. There you go. Yep. Now we got it.
Okay. I'm going to go pretty quickly. I want to open it up to questions after. Basically, I think a couple of the biggest mistakes that I see people making with regards to launch is that they don't index properly, they don't write their listing properly, and they don't understand what events trigger what outcomes from Amazon, good and bad, right? So there's Amazon's algorithm as like the foundation. What you guys need to understand is how Amazon's algorithm ranks products and what they're looking for, so that you can, understand what levers to pull and how to build your listing. The second part of that is the keyword research. So understanding how to find the most relevant keywords, and then again, back to Amazon's algorithm, how Amazon is going to look at those keywords based on, I would say, match types. So I'm going to go through a couple of these scenarios with you. First is Amazon's algorithm. So what they're looking for are 4 different things. They're looking for your conversion rate. They're looking at your click-through rate, and then the relevancy and the revenue generated from the product. So by relevancy, that's just so that Amazon understands that what is showing up in the search results is relevant to what the person should be searching for. And this is where I see a lot of people have issues too when they launch incorrectly, or they write their listing in a way that can confuse Amazon's algorithm. You can create blocks on your listing because Amazon thinks you're selling product B when you're selling product A. Or even if it's similar, they don't want to show you on the first page for a search term that isn't 100% relevant. So the degree of relevancy matters, and how you establish relevancy matters. So we're going to get into that as well. Conversion rate's very straightforward. It's your units sold over your sessions and clicks. And then you have your click-through rate, which is total sessions divided by your clicks. And then you've got your revenue, which is also very important, because a lot of people, if you try to launch a very expensive product on a keyword that's dominated by much faster moving, cheaper products, it's possible for you to potentially stick, but you have to remember that your click-through rate, your conversion rate is going to be lower, and your revenue may be able to keep up simply because you can sell 1 unit to every 3 that they sell. But if you're like trying to rank for headphones, and you're up against a bunch of cheap headphones that are, $10 to $15, and you're selling $120 pair of, true wireless headphones, then you're going to have a lot of trouble ranking on the first page of that keyword. It's just the velocity that they're doing versus yours, the click-through rate, the conversion rate that they're doing is going to be significantly higher. So essentially, I've given a name to how to optimize your listings and how to establish what is, the best way to write a listing based on what the algorithm's looking for and how they look at it. And we've given that name Ranking Juice. So it basically defines the keyword ranking credit the algorithm is giving to your listing for any given action and for how you build your listing. So the amount of ranking juice is different depending on many factors. It's the type of keyword the buyer used to find the product, how that keyword relates to the keyword that you're trying to rank for, and the way that you write your listing. So where you put the keywords in your listing, title, bullets, backend, all of those have different amount of ranking juice as well. Also, it factors in the source of the traffic. Outside traffic is weighted differently than internal, like PPC traffic. Different outside traffic locations are weighted differently as well. So Facebook might be worth like two times the credit of internal traffic, but Etsy might be worth 3 times. Google might be worth 5 times it. So it's different depending on the source as well. You also have different amount of ranking juice depending on the quality of the buyer. So the buyer quality score is a thing. And that's just deal seekers tend to dilute your credit, the credit that is given to them. So when we're talking about match types, this is what I'm talking about. You have the exact match. So if I have like hat for dogs, and I wrote hat for dogs in the beginning of my listing, and someone searches for hat for dogs, and I want to rank for hat for dogs, all of that is exact match. It's the same exact keyword. Now, if they searched instead for hats for dogs, which is plural, then I would get 70% of the credit on hat for dogs. And so the phrase match would be that they look for yellow hats for dogs. And so basically, hats for dog is still in the keyword that they used, but it's in the same order. So that's why it's a phrase match. And I would get 50% of the credit on hats for dogs for the search term when they use the search term yellow hats for dogs. Now, broad is when they mix the keywords up in different order, or they put words in between. So it'd be like hats for large dogs would give me a broad match credit for hats for dogs. And so I would only get 30% of the credit there. Now, that's important. And the reason that they give you credit for so many different keywords anytime there's an action is because they can't rely on an action on every single keyword to and wait for it to rank your product on every single keyword. So one action will influence hundreds and hundreds of keywords, potentially thousands of keywords. Now, each of those keywords have different search volume, and you have different competitors, and everything is relevant. So it's going to move them at different speeds. But you have to understand that every single action has a cascading effect over hundreds of keywords. And it's why when we do the proper research and keyword research, we build our listing properly, that we can understand what keywords to target at launch, and make sure we're covering all of what we call routes, so that we can influence and rank for hundreds of keywords and not really leave anything behind within a week of launch. So again, the algorithm is also based on position. So title is most important, the bullets is second. Now you have the in the back end, you do have several columns there that will index higher. But I don't recommend necessarily using them or abusing them, because Amazon's been going through different categories and removing them randomly. There is one that they probably will never get rid of that they want you to use, called search terms. And so that one ranks third on the list of priority. And then description or A+ content ranks fourth. Now, we are noticing that the A+ content, they are starting to scan the images to give you a certain amount of credit, but it is a low amount of credit. So if you are writing things in your images for your A+, it does get a little bit of credit, but also writing actual text or what you have in the description that is below your A+ now. It used to be behind it so no one could see it, but now there's a section below. It is ranked there as well, but it gives you so little credit that it's somewhere where you don't want to put necessarily important keywords. Now, a lot of people ask questions about, should I repeat keywords? Sometimes you can't avoid repeating, important roots or phrases. Like hats for dogs might be repeated several times simply because, it's the most common roots, the most common words to describe it, and you have a lot of long tail keywords that include it. But the goal is to not repeat it in places where you might get lower credit, because it doesn't accumulate and it doesn't stack. You're going to end up in a position sometimes where Amazon just chooses to give you credit for a lower amount than you wanted for an important keyword. And so you want to avoid that situation. So when you're first starting and deciding how to prepare for launch, you need to do the proper keyword research. So the objective is to identify all the keywords that can potentially drive sales for a product. Now, here's the key, though, is that most competitors are not really good at Amazon. So they're not going to be ranked for 100% of those keywords. And by ranked, I mean like on the first page, top 30, top 45. They're going to be ranked for a percentage of them. So in order to find them and identify the keywords, you have to look at a collection of the best sellers. Cerebro from Helium 10 allows you to look at 10 sellers at a time. So what we do is we take the 10 best sellers of a niche that we want to analyze. And that might be, across several keywords and across multiple subcategories. We will dig deep to find the people that are making the 10 most amount of units sold for a specific product type. and then we will analyze those 10 bestsellers. Once we do that, then we identify the keyword roots with the most search volume. We add a column into the data to create a relevancy, in that data, in that spreadsheet. And then we write the listing to maximize the ranking juice based on the broad search volume of those roots, the broad search volume of the keywords, and the match types and where we want to put it. So we basically calculate all of those different factors and give them scores so that we understand what our score is versus our competitors, and to make sure we're not missing any of the keywords that our competitors are often missing. So what can good keyword research tell you? Basically how competitive a product is, the risk associated with doing that product, the opportunity of the product. So how many keywords there are, that's what I call opportunity. I don't want to do a product that has like less than 10 keywords that are driving any amount of sales, like the majority of the sales, because that's a product that anyone bad at Amazon can compete with me, because they don't necessarily need to know how to do the in-depth data analysis to find all of the good keywords. They can just stumble across them and guess. And so it's going to be far more competitive. You're typically going to have a lower life cycle for that type of product as well. Good keyword research and competitive analysis tells us how many products to order, because we understand how quickly we can rank on a number of keywords, the search volume associated, how many sales our competitors are getting, who we expect to beat, so what range we expect to be in, so we can guess pretty accurately how many to order, and then how to properly write the listing for maximum ranking juice. Whether to do the product at all. Like if it's too competitive, not enough opportunity score, we can just abandon that idea and move on to the next without spending a lot of time and effort and money on it. So here's how you create a master keyword list, basically the step-by-step guide. You can take a screenshot if you need to. It's 17 steps. But the first step is that you're going to identify those top 10 competitors. You're going to throw them into Helium 10. You're going to grab the data from Helium 10 from Cerebro. There you can set the search volume minimum to 300 to 500, whatever you prefer, ranking competitors. And then you're going to sort the list by exact search volume. Then you're going to download the data. Once you download the data, then you manipulate the data, like I was saying. So you're basically, there's going to be a column called position rank. That's the hero, the first ASIN you put in the Cerebro list. And you're going to replace the ASIN there into that column name so that you rename it. And then you basically delete everything except for search volume and then all of those ASINs, those 10 ASINs. And what you end up with is a list. This is a master keyword list that we've manipulated and done quite a bit with. We have a lot of automation happening. We have a lot of data in here. So in a lot of calculations we're doing. But from here down is basically what you would look at. You have your relevancy column, and then you have the 10 ASINs here. And what this is telling us is that this is the keyword on the left, dog hat. It has 25,000 search volume. It has a relevancy of 10. So all of our 10 best competitors are ranking top 45 for dog hat. This is their actual rank. Each competitor has their own column, and here's their actual rank on that keyword. This one's 6th, for example. And then what you would do is you would be able to look down at all these keywords. You would have the relevancy. You have the search volume associated with them. And you're going to be able to get an idea. So what we then look at is percentage of keywords of the percentage of search volume that they're on page 1 for, not just the percentage of keywords, because search volume is more important, right? Someone could be on 60% of the keywords, but they're on 90% of the search volume. So they're doing a pretty good job. And so what we do is we calculate the competitors. If someone is red, we call them very good at Amazon. These people know what they're doing. They're good at ranking. They were able to find the right keywords. They're able to maximize their ranking potential and really rank well for the product. Their product performs well. If someone's only orange, then they're just good at Amazon. They have up to 70% or up to 80% of the searches. Sorry. And so if they're good, we feel like we can compete and beat them within a couple months. If they're very good, we might never beat them. We might just become as good as them. And then if they're yellow, if they're a yellow competitor and just okay at Amazon, which is like, 40 to 60% of the keyword search volume, we feel like we can beat a yellow competitor within a month of launch. We can have a lot more of the keywords ranked well for us. We can be optimized. We can have a better offer. Otherwise, we wouldn't have launched it. And so we're looking for, when we do our analysis, we're looking for products with a lot of yellow competitors so that we can come in and beat them pretty quickly and rank better than them. And so if someone's green, they don't have any idea what they're doing on Amazon. They're not very good. And another thing that we look at is how long they've been selling, the age, like the listing age. So a good thing is, like, if someone's been around for a long time, it's not very likely that they're going to move very much up or down. They're pretty much solidified with how good they are or how bad they are. But if someone's very new, they might still be improving. They might still be launching or improving. But what you're looking for is an established listing with a lot of established competitors that aren't very good at Amazon. That's a wide open door for you to come in and just reiterate or iterate better, make a better offer, and beat them pretty quickly. So that's like the first part of launches. Let me see if I can pull up the second part. Okay. Now here's the magic. This is where you're gonna like understand how to take that data and write a better listing, I think. Where's the... So again, we're talking about ranking juice that we talked about earlier. Now, here's what to determine when determining the importance of a keyword. Relevancy to me is probably the most important thing, because remember, that's what Amazon's going to use to determine whether you should even be ranked for that keyword. Then we're going to look at the broad search volume of that keyword. So, for example, dog hat might only have 5,000 searches, but from a broad search volume perspective, it's very valuable. So we might want to prioritize that over a keyword that's more odd that has like 7,000 searches or 8,000 searches. So we're going to give less credit to that keyword simply because we're going to factor in the broad search volume as well. The other thing is that root representation. So you gotta look at it things from a combined. Now, what are roots? Roots are the name I've given to words that are repeated through multiple keywords. So dog, hat, sun. Those are keywords that are just repeated a lot in that type of context. And so we're looking at those words and trying to understand, how often are they repeated and how much search volume do they carry as a root, so that we can figure out how to prioritize them. Now, when looking at roots, you have to factor in plural and non-plural. And the reason that you have to treat them separately is because Amazon is treating them separately from a ranking perspective. But what's interesting is when you go to target them for PPC, they're considered the same thing for PPC. So when you go to target hats for dogs with an exact campaign, you're also going to be showing up on hat for dogs or hat for dog. It's going to, and it's going to show up on hat dog and hats dogs. They remove the conjunctions, the for, is, and. They remove those words, and they remove the plural and add the plural to find all of the potential keywords when you target an exact. So it's not truly an exact. So you have to understand how to prepare your PPC for launch as well, which is like another whole class in and of itself. But good thing I have that. So, but for ranking and for writing your listing and for indexing, you need to understand that they are separate, that they're different. So keep in mind that people will call the same product by different names in many different regions, areas, parts of the world, languages. So, people might call it a cap for dogs rather than a hat for dogs, right? And so there will be a certain percentage of search volume that is going towards cap for dogs. Whereas if you ignore that, now you're just missing out on a free opportunity to also rank for those other words that are related. So the importance of the root is determined by, again, the relevancy and the search volume of all the relevant keywords that contain that word, and then the search volume of the root's highest search volume keyword. So it took me a little while to write that last sentence because I wanted to make sure that I was very clear. So the search volume of the root's highest search volume keyword. So in that example I gave you, like cat for dog might have a 4,000 search volume, which is decent. It might be like the 5th most searched term. But then then the rest of cap, anything with cap in it, is very, very little search volume. Well, that 4,000 term is still very important. So you still need to represent it because it represents, even though as a total broad search volume, cap might be lower than a bunch of other keywords, especially hat, then you still want to prioritize it. So that one big keyword still makes a difference, and you need to take notice of it. So here's kind of what it looks like when you put out all of the keywords on the left. So you've got all the keywords here. You got 88 of them. Now, what we do is we're going to normalize them, and we're going to combine them. And this is where we're going to remove the plural just to analyze like from a non-plural perspective. And what happens is dog hat and dog hats. We're going to normalize to just be dog hat, and we're going to combine that search volume. So now we know that the broad search volume of dog is all of the keywords here, all of the normalized keywords that have dog, and the broad search volume of hat are all of the normalized search volume of anything containing hat. And then it's a big drop off. But sun, surprisingly, is third. Even though if you look at this master keyword list, dog hat sun is here. And then, you wouldn't necessarily pick it up right away. Then you have like, small is more important than large slightly. Ear is very important. And if you look through the master keyword list, you see ear protection, and you got to look through and see where else ear is used. But when you normalize and then combine the search volumes, and then you analyze the roots based on the broad search volume, you really start to get an idea of what's more important than others. And you can start to then construct your listing better. So when roots aren't represented correctly, like you miss them, you're going to confuse Amazon's algorithm because they won't know what you're selling. So if you're missing some key roots, they might try to pick up from your listing some of the flair that people love to put into listings, some of the benefits that people put in, some of the accessories that come with the product. But if you start putting in those benefits and accessories into the title, then Amazon might think you're selling something to do with those benefits or those accessories. And an example is like if you're selling a kid's toolbox, for example, like a toy toolbox for kids, like you don't necessarily want to write comes with nuts and bolts in the title, because there's no parents that are really searching for a toolbox, kid's toolbox, or a toolbox toy with nuts and bolts. The search volume for nuts and bolts in that context is very low. And so all you're doing is confusing Amazon that now thinks you're selling like an adult sized toolbox with nuts and bolts in it, or selling nuts and bolts. So you can confuse the relevancy there, and you've got to be careful. And then you might not rank for the ones that you want to rank for. So that's very important. And then you might have trouble ranking on the first page for the roots containing it, because again, they're going to continuously bump you down. So if you've had products that no matter what you're doing from a launching or a ranking or any type of promotion standpoint, that basically it floats up to like the teens and then back down to like 35 or 45, and it just repeats that bounce, that's because you have like an indexing block. Amazon is confused as to what your product is. So basically, look, we've got an analysis that we do. We run through this sheet. Like we have a software that we put it through, so you can get a visual idea of how good our competitors are or how bad our competitors are at writing their listing and getting ranking juice. So we've established that, you know, we give a ranking juice score based on match type and based on broad search volume and based on, you know, where they write their listing. But we're going to just concentrate on the titles here. And so what we're seeing is that dog hat, being the most important keyword with the most ranking juice, should be in an exact form in every one of our competitors' titles. That's super important. That's a really important keyword. But we're finding that it's only in a broad plural form here, broad and plural, because if you look, you know, you'll see that they've got hat, they've got dog, they've got hats, they've got dogs, right? But they don't have it together. So they have it in broad, they have it in broad plural, but they don't have it in exact. And the only two that have it in exact are here, and I think it's only in dog hats. So they only have it in plural here. So everyone's doing a pretty poor job of writing this listing for maximum ranking juice. And so if you were to take your stab at writing a listing here, and you wanted to have different sizes, but you figured small dogs is probably going to be the leader because it's searched the most, it has the most keyword juice. So as from a research perspective, I'm looking at all this keyword research and I'm saying, hey, I should start with the smaller size because it's searched more and it has more ranking juice. So I'm going to start with the smaller size. I might start with a large size too, but I'm going to prioritize the small size. And I'm going to write my listing with dog hats for small dogs. And then I'm going to put a comma and I'm going to put, you know, something about the sun, and I might dog sun hat and something like that. I'm already going to be beating my competitors by a lot by just writing like one sentence because they've done a poor job of prioritizing the correct way to match for Amazon's maximum ranking potential. Excuse me. So you'll notice that no one's taking advantage of the Spanish keyword terms, even though they carry a lot of keyword ranking juice. It's the second most spoken language in America, the fastest growing language. And, you know, your listing does show up potentially. You get buyers in Mexico and other places. It indexes on Google. So you see right away that like on line 9 as well and line 10, or not line 9, but you have it here and here in Spanish and your competitors are completely missing. So I would even consider, with it carrying so much weight, I would probably write it into my title as well and get a lot of that extra juice and ranking. So here's what happens if you wrote your title wrong and you didn't get the correct indexing and then you fix your title. Like you just literally rewrite your listing. All of a sudden I was running ads on this, right? And I was in the 3rd ad position and I was on the 17th ad position. And just by adding the keyword correctly into the title, the right search term to make sure I got the right route, all of a sudden I got ranked into the organic rank of number 2 and the organic rank of number 3. And so you see no keyword history, no ranking, and then all of a sudden I'm ranked. And the same thing here. So when you're tracking your keywords, you write your listing and you're seeing that you're having trouble ranking or that you're not even indexed, that gives you the opportunity to go in and rewrite your listing and attempt another write at it so that you write it correctly for more ranking potential and to make sure you're not neglecting any potential keywords that you research and find. So this is a little bit about how we calculate the ranking juice. It has a location multiplier, it has a match type multiplier, and it has a broad search volume factored into it as well. So that's just, you know, the back end of that. So I'm going to give you an idea. Like basically what I've done is I've recreated, if you guys have ever used Helium 10's tool to write listings, they have the, what do they call it? Where you can write listings with their tool. Anyway, they have like, basically they have all the different columns.
Scribbles.
And then they have them. What's it called?
Scribbles.
Yeah, Scribbles. All right. We recreated Scribbles, but did it in a way that it actually calculates your ranking juice as you're writing. So, for example, like we wrote dog hat for small dogs, one sentence, right? And we have more search volume, 193,000 like ranking juice than our competitors, who the highest here, one of our competitors, the best selling competitors of this product, were only 122,000, 113,000, 111, 110. So just with one properly written sentence, I've already got more ranking juice than all of the competitors in my title than they did, right? I'm not representing all the routes, but I can go back and then I can write more things into this title in a better way so that I can get them included. And so I can just crush them. And, you know, I did it. I don't have a screenshot of it, but I ended up, after I got done writing the title the way I wanted it, I think I had like 330,000 score of ranking juice score versus like the best competitor, which was 122. So almost 3 times as much ranking juice just from writing my listing properly. Yeah, that's it. I think that the foundation of keyword research is probably the best part. Now I can include like how to do a master keyword list, like a walkthrough tutorial for you guys for another time, like or like give you a free video to watch that, because like it's simple, like to pull the Cerebro and then do it. It's a little bit of a walkthrough. I gave you the steps there, but if you want to just watch that, I can send you a link or something. But I think it's important that once you pull the data, create the master keyword list, and then understand how to pull the routes, look at broad search volume, and then understand whether to do the product and then how to write the product, then your launches are going to go a lot more smooth. You're going to rank a lot better. You're going to index better. And it should be uphill from there. Were there any questions?
Downhill from there. Uphill from there.
Oh, yeah, hopefully.
Brandon, would you suggest rewriting listings if your products are slowing down and try to like almost like relaunch it?
Yeah, 100%. So I work with Thrasio's team, and they rewrite almost every listing, even though they're taking control of, when they buy a product, it's typically one of the best sellers usually, and they still rewrite it. So it gives you an idea of, you know, even if it's going well. I used to say, like, you know, if it's not broke, don't fix it. But sometimes there's still an opportunity that you're leaving on the table that you should probably take advantage of. Just be aware when you remove something from your title that there's the event of de-indexing. So you need to make sure it's replaced somewhere else in your listing, or, you know, just be aware of what you're removing.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're just arranging order to get better match type, then, you know, it's probably fine.
Thanks.
So someone messaged me and wanted to know where you can get that spreadsheet from. I'm like, I think you gotta make it.
Yeah, you make the master keyword list. You know, the master keyword list you can make manually. To do a proper analysis and to figure out whether you should do a product and then to write a listing, just to do the proper analysis is probably a half hour to 45 minutes. So like the first thing we typically do is we will do a really quick rough one. And that takes like 10 minutes. Like you can pull the data, create the relevancy column, see the color of everyone before you really clean up the keywords, because you want to remove anything you can't from that master keyword list on the left. This would be your left. You're going to end up removing all the keywords that you can't get searches from, right? Or you can't get sales from. And then you're going to be left with like the meat. You're going to be left with all the keywords. And then you can see what the ranks of all your competitors are for each of them, and what the percentage of search volume that they're on and the percentage of keywords they're on, and very quickly make a decision whether there's a product you probably want to pass before you fill out all the rest of that information. You don't need the total number of sales, reviews, and all that stuff yet. What you'll do at that point is then see if there's a margin, source it, right? Like go to 1688, you know, look for factories, try to find like a cost basis, you know, throw it into a cost calculator with like insane shipping, because shipping's retarded right now. And excuse my language, but it's really bad. And then like just you want to lean towards the really high side to make sure that there's still a margin there. And then once you qualify that, then you can go back and start filling in the rest. Now, before, you wouldn't do the rest. Like you wouldn't start writing the listing. You wouldn't start, you know, breaking it down into the routes. You wouldn't start doing all of that stuff until you've already ordered it. So you're not going to do that for every product. The master keyword list in the very beginning is just to identify the opportunity, the risk associated with the product, and whether you should even do it and how many you should order. And then when the product's like, you got the samples in your hand, you're placing that order while it's being made, then you can go back in and start really going deeper with the data and to write the listing and do all that.
But I think it would, if somebody had something now, that they weren't getting any traction on, or they wanted to get more traction on or something that they've already done so, this is a good exercise as well, right? Because maybe I
Yeah.
know when we've keyworded things with people and I'm like, you missed like huge swaths of keywords. You know, and that's mostly wholesale and RA stuff, but I'm like, you know, you've got, I was just example, you've got shower gel, but you don't have body wash. So yeah, you know, you missed a whole thing. And I like the process. I think it's very scientific.
Yeah, we try to make everything data oriented. What's good there is like you can even go in and find the 10 best sellers of shower gel and the 10 best sellers that are ranked well for body wash, right? And then you can combine the list together and you can get more data from that. Like you can really dig deeper into the keywords that are driving, because they're basically synonyms for each other, like you're saying. And so you're going to have different parts. Like another example I give all the time is like the toiletry bag. People call it a DOP kit. Most people have never heard the term DOP kit, but there's a lot of people that search for DOP kit. Some people call it a bathroom bag or a shower bag or a shaving kit or, you know, a travel bag. And so you have all these different ways people call different products on a regular basis. And if you're not building your listing to take advantage of all those ways and optimize and rank for them, you're missing out on a ton of opportunity and sales.
Yeah.
Good question.
Yeah.
What do you do when the people are looking for something that is pretty or cute? Because I think that's what makes me different with my PL products. So everything else is in black, but mine might be pink or has flowers on it or something like that. So how would you handle that?
Yeah, so design-oriented products either work or they don't, right? Like, so we're still going to optimize it for all the proper keywords. We're going to rank it very quickly to all of the right keywords. But then the true test is going to be, well, is it converting? How's our PPC doing? Do people click on it and buy it? Do they really like it? How's my offer, right? And so, and we do some design-oriented stuff in the toys category, where sometimes we'll do like an elephant, another time we'll do a giraffe, and another time we'll do a unicorn. And we're like, well, no one's doing this animal. Maybe let's see if it works. And so, you know, the only way to really test sometimes is just to throw it out there and order enough to sustain if it works. And work, like it'll work to a percentage of the time and it won't work. So with designs, I think it's more about a numbers game, and then analyzing the conversion data, trying to maximize your conversion rate, and then abandoning products that aren't working quicker. For us, when we first started years ago, like we started private label 5 years ago, for the first year to 2 years, we lost a lot of money trying to force products to rank well that just didn't convert well. It was like the design was slightly off. Now you can work on new content. So typically, like in the way our launches go is in the first 2 weeks, we're looking at the PPC data. We're driving some outside traffic from, you know, Google or from Facebook or a combination of those. And we're trying to keep the levers high that we know they're looking at, the conversion rate, the click-through rate, and we're trying to keep all of those high. But the true data that we're really looking at is the PPC data, because the PPC is really the barometer of the health. Is it going to work? How are we doing compared to the competition? How's our offer? And the two main things you control with the click-through rate and conversion are the images and the content and the price. So we're then tweaking and trying many different images, many different main images, and then we're fluctuating our price. We're adding a coupon, we're taking away a coupon, and we're trying to find that position. Yeah, that equilibrium is going to drive the most conversion and at least keep us ahead of our competition, so that as we ease off the gas with the outside traffic, that we're still able to maintain our ranks that we were able to get with our good optimization and our good launch strategy.
Now, what would you do with a product where you've launched it with no PPC and it takes off?
You really happy?
Yeah, I mean, so the only reason that I wouldn't do PPC at that point is if I don't have enough inventory, right? But I still want to establish indexing, and I still want to establish what the product is to Amazon across many different routes. So PPC is a great way to do that. If I take that master keyword list and I target like the 30 most relevant keywords across like 4 campaigns, 6 to 8 keywords per campaign, exact campaigns, very relevant. All the routes are represented. There's no doubt what I'm selling. Like if I start with an auto or a broad campaign, and Amazon can just basically throw up a term and then trigger a sale, and then it confuses itself sometimes. So PPC should always be used, but we use it very sparingly in the beginning, mostly just to look at the data and to establish the indexing. So yeah, we're very light-handed. We want to be very precise with the levers we're pulling, and then the data we're giving to Amazon too.
Thank you.
Brandon, this is Bob. Would you talk about the relationship between the Amazon flywheel algorithm, where you're bringing sales in? All they want to know is this selling or not? And the sales are coming in, but over on this side, we have a listing, and you're talking about ranking well. That's great, but does one have more weight than the other, or how do you weight them?
Yeah, so ranking is traffic, right? So that's, if you're ranked well, you should get clicks. And so we're trying to drive the majority of our sales through organic. That's how we can really establish profitability very quickly. And then it'll bring enough organic traffic to maintain the rank, so that the product is able to basically stay there on its own merit and on its own, become well established, and then we can move on to the next product. It gets into a maintenance mode type of product. But if we're constantly having to drive traffic, if we're constantly having to prop it up and drive our own traffic, then it's an indication that there's a problem with the product, that the organic conversion isn't good enough compared to our competition to outrank them. So again, we're going to go back in and we're going to look at the iteration there, or the data that we're going to look at is what's our click-through rate and conversion rate organically? What's our click-through rate and conversion rate from the traffic we're driving, whether on Amazon or off Amazon? And what are the different changes and levers that we can pull to start improving that? And sometimes, like I was saying, sometimes your offer just isn't good enough, right? Like you're in, like, it's not even just about, like, you can take better images, you can lower your price, but if you're trying to sell an orange one, orange anything versus a bunch of black anything, black is typically the most popular color and people want the black one. And it's just tough for you to like stick out and also convert more and sell more. Now, that's not true in a scenario where it's like a toy and you got a bunch of people selling a blue one targeted at boys, and then you make a pink one. You got an equal number of boys and girls, and an equal number of parents that are going to say, oh, a pink one, and then buy it, right? And so that's an opportunity. So I love the opportunity to try to be different, but you've got to always understand what the ramifications are of that, and sometimes it just doesn't work.
Sure. The CSV file that you showed, the first one that you're putting together for them ranking, which looks like a circus of information.
Yeah.
Would we have access to that blank template?
Yeah, there is one. I have a free class that the file is in there. Let me see.
And you were mentioning you have software. Do you have software then that populates all of that to a certain extent?
Yeah, we have software that automates all of it. So basically, you can populate that whole sheet in under 5 minutes. But it's currently it's in beta, and we have 130 members, and we're about to open it up to our group. But it's going to probably stay only to our group for about 6 months.
And do you have any kind of special offer for us for your group?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm happy to give you a big discount since you're friends with Barb.
Deal. Just me?
Only you, though. Karen can't have it.
Oh, Karen. No. Karen should get it.
That was supposed to be my line at the end. That's like the thing to like everybody come. But okay,
I'm
take
sorry
it away,
I walked
Bob.
on your line. I'm sorry I walked on your line. Sorry.
Yeah, everyone in Barbara's group is going to be able to get $1,000 off the group, the discount. No, the way it works is that it's the full course content. We have like 100 hours of content across every aspect of product development, ordering, logistics, ranking, PPC. Excuse me. Then the launches and optimization, outside traffic. And then you get a year in the group, the private mastermind.
Which includes
excuse me,
office hours and things like that, I'm told. I've been getting this question a lot lately.
Yes, Brandon, but also I know Howard. So is there a special pricing?
That might get you a couple extra dollars that you have to pay more.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah,
I thought that was
go
worth
and
a
be
big
the mayor.
discount.
Excuse me. Something in my throat. So you get a year in the inner circle, which is the mastermind. We have close to 900 members. We do weekly calls to ask any questions. We have a weekly call for pre-launch, and we have a weekly call for post-launch. Community is very giving, very open. We teach an
I'll
abundance
get all
mentality.
I'll get all the stuff from you, and when I post the video, I'll post the sign up.
Okay, awesome.
And-
Yeah, and
and
I'll
whatever
yeah,
you
look,
want.
I'm happy to offer a nice discount to everybody and answer any questions.
Brandon, how soon do you think that software will be available to the whole group?
It'll be like 2 weeks. Yeah, we're almost done with the beta. The beta was 130 members. We have about 300 lined up to sign up as soon as it's available. It's yeah, it's super good, super powerful.
You talked about outside sources having different levels of weight between Facebook and Google and that. Which would you say is the highest weight, do you feel, if we were to do outside traffic to bring into Amazon?
Google is by far the highest. Pinterest is probably second, surprisingly. And then maybe Facebook's like a third, but Facebook's still better than, better than internal. But all that traffic's tough to get profitable. The entire point would be to use it for ranking. So you're looking at it like as a conversion event. So someone comes in and from a specific Google link and they purchase, that's worth like 7 purchases that you drove from within Amazon. It's
Wow.
really high. And
So
so
even
that
if you're doing it at a loss, even if it's costing you $20 to get one click through, it's worthwhile to a point.
correct,
would be
yeah.
for
So
me,
when you're first launching or relaunching or targeting a new keyword, as long as your indexing is right, you can run some outside traffic to really help. Now, again, our goal is always, once we're ranked, to take the foot off the gas so that we can maintain that rank organically. And the only way that happens is by the merit of the product. So you still have to develop a high quality product. You still have to get something that's going to get good reviews with great content and a great offer. So you need to be able to compete on price, compete on quality, and still make a good product. But there's tons of opportunity for what a lot of the guys in your group do. There's a great approach for hybrid, like wholesale private label, where you can source accessories to products that you have that are name brand, and then you can make a new bundle underneath your own brand that is, and you own your own listing, but then you can rank that much better than the name brand listing, because basically you're selling it for almost the same price, and it's like just extra value, but you wrote the listing and optimized it better than the people that originally created it. Because honestly,
Most of the wholesale listings are 1 image, 2 image, it's 10 inches tall and it's blue. That's
exactly right. And so again, that just brings you back to most people don't know really how to optimize or write an optimized listing. So from a private label perspective, people that can do wholesale, getting good at private label makes you great at wholesale. And it also opens up a whole world to you, because you've spent all this time establishing relationships with vendors and brands and sources. And then like, it's like, well, look behind this door, and then combine the two. And now you have more opportunity than a lot of people just doing private label. So you can take the best of both worlds and really crush it.
Yeah. And we've done it again and again with wholesale on just another color.
Yeah, absolutely. No, and I've heard, it may have been you where I heard you talking about that tip, which is you approach these brands and you say, I just want the exclusive of this new color.
Yeah. In fact, we did it with one, and there was a pink, a blue, and a neutral color, and our neutral color the rank was half, maybe around like 9,000-10,000 toys, and everything was better, and we were $10 more in price per unit, because it's just like the listings we were competing against were wrong. They weren't strong, but they were strong listings in terms of traffic. So we just kind of borrowed that traffic.
Yeah. Teresa asks, what do you do when you have the exclusive and they won't let you alter the listing? Teresa, I would just show them the research. Create a master keyword list and put their product versus the competition. And you're going to show them how the private label sellers are crushing them. And then why, and say, this is why I need the opportunity to rewrite your listing and take control of your content. And when you create a plan of action for these brands, you can get more exclusives. Like, I know that walking up to somebody and saying, this is the analysis, this is why I'm good, this is what I do, this is my credentials, but here's the data, here's what I can do for you. And all of a sudden now you're somebody that's going to help generate more sales, and it's a win-win.
And if it's Amazon that won't let you go through the brand, if you've got an exclusive, they should be okay. If they're willing to give you an exclusive, they'll probably be willing to let you be an agent. I think it's a big deal, but it's not a big deal.
Yeah, they have an account somewhere that controls that, and then you can get ownership of it, or you can at least give them the flat file to upload so that they can change the content themselves.
Brandon, Amazon has some new program where they're offering like $10 for each person you bring to the platform or to sell them something. Is that tied through attribution or not? Or wouldn't that be a gold nugget for us that they're going to give us $10 if we bring outside traffic in?
Yeah, so the new bonus on outside traffic is very interesting. I think that it's great. It's gonna help because, again, the outside traffic doesn't necessarily convert at a profit, right? You're relying on the impact for organic and the ranks. And so you're kind of just running it in the background and letting the faster moving organic sales pretty much offset it. But that bonus will probably make it much, much better for you too. Yeah.
Defray the super high cost of PPC.
Absolutely. Well, I hope that this was helpful. I'm gonna
think
make
it's
sure
great.
I include.
I can't wait to reorganize my thoughts and put it into this
Yeah.
structure.
You guys don't need to join the inner circle to get access to how to do the master keyword list. Like I'll give that free video to you guys so that you can do it as well.
No, I think this is great. I think I get a lot of value out of the inner circle.
I missed the inner circle part.
So that's my full course in Mastermind. It's you get all the content from A to Z for private label, but then you get a private group, a mastermind for a year. And every week I go live to answer any questions. I have 2 calls, one pre-launch, post-launch. And then we have a whole schedule of calls like on specific subjects, topics, special guests, experts, things like that. And so you get that group for a year.
So then you would have Barb on at some point.
Absolutely.
Thank you. That's very nice. I'll give you the $5 later. Well, thank you very much, Brandon. I know you're really busy, and I'm lucky. We were very lucky to get you because you're not traveling for a couple of weeks, which is pretty good. So
yeah, my plans got canceled. I was supposed to go to LA, and I was looking forward to seeing everyone in LA and Southern California. I can't wait to get traveling again.
I know. It's like I'm supposed to be in Minneapolis.
Vegas was so fun, and everyone just let loose, and then half of us got COVID. I avoided it somehow, but
Didn't you have